Yo, 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 what's good, everybody? This is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction. And do you know what day it is? Do you know what day it is? It is just Thursday, October 8th. But this is also the 50th episode of season 2 of the composition. And it's funny because I just saw Acre had like seasons, and so I was just all like, well, season 1 was so sporadic and sprinkled about. So we're just gonna be like, yep, season 2. And that's what we got. So we're 50 episodes into season 2, and I just checked on, what was it? I think it was the Apple podcast platform, and this would be the 80th podcast that I published in general. So I'm just all like, oh, Thug Life. So this is already a lot longer than season 1. But what's interesting about this particular season is there's more of me talking, and I got double check, but I did have a lot more interviews, and I do have a lot of interviews that I just need to put out. There's this dope interview with me and my homeboy, Passport Polanco, who's a father traveler. He has his business. He's a musician and poet, civil rights activist and fighter. And I need to drop that. That one came out really dope. But that's not what this particular episode is about. This particular episode is about, well, I don't know. But I do want to talk about, the two debates a little bit. I'm not really. It's funny because I'm just all like, oh, I'm not into politics, but I be like low key, doing some stuff because I gotta be able to protect myself. I can't. I am a thinker, and so when I do conversate with people, I like to be able to come with facts or some sort of, not just pull it out of thin air, or Facebook social media logic or anything like that. So, I do stay up to date because whether or not you feel like the system helps or harms you, it does something. Therefore, it's important to be aware. It's important to do your research as well, but it is important to be very aware of what's going on. And so, what I would take from the debate with Mike Pence and Kamala Harris was, let me just say, it looked mighty amazing to see a black woman up there. And there was a point where they had put them side by side as far as like on the screen, and I just wanted to kind of like remove Mike Pence from right there and just have Barack Obama and just have this picture because it's historic. Let's not take away the monumental aspect of it. Doesn't matter if you agree with, certain things she's done or says or different things like that. Whether you're a person of color Republican, person of color Democrat, or neither, can we just agree that it was amazing seeing her on there? Now, everyone's gonna have their opinions. I saw somebody saying that she was too abrasive and aggressive, and I was like, her? We're not gonna talk about how Mike Pence cut her off more times and was straight up mic hogging, but that's neither here nor there. you know, on top of that, it was just a better debate than Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And speaking of this this guy, Mister Mister Trump, you know, I feel like I feel like um he's doing some weird stuff. He's doing some super weird stuff. There were some points in there, I will say, we're talking about, because it's contradicting as far as what they say and what they're pushing for and what the reality has been because of that. It's one thing to be like free United States, free market, different things like that. But within all these freedoms, you're so bent out of, hell bent on law and order, but yet you don't want to have order or regulations in a way that things are trade is being done and different things like that. And I could be super paraphrasing, but that was one of the things that I had picked up last night that Mike Pence kept on saying, and bigging up Trump on. Trump is a hard guy to try to represent. Like, if there's anything that I give it to Mike Pence, it's nah, I don't give him anything. But here's one thing that I do want to say for sure. Because there's this. The only reason I bring politics up because I feel like what I'm about to say is a great point to as far as us in general. When Trump first got in office, and I mean I've heard this in Obama, whatchamacallit as well. That's not my president. That's not my president. And I don't want to say it like that, like I'm trying to mimic someone in particular, but that particular statement, that is not my president, when you don't like who the person is or you don't agree with it. The reality, and I implore you to consider this. Either way, that's our president. That's who representing us, and we have to completely accept that. So that way it can be changed. I'm not saying to accept as far as any of the antics or anything like that. We just have to accept that is our president, and if we don't like it, then we have to do something about it. It's almost kind of, in my opinion, it's almost kind of passive. And I've said it, but it was more so, it's just like the thing to say or whatever. But the more and more that I really sat down there and thought about it, I was just all like, it's very passive, and it almost leaves open. I'm not saying that this does, but it almost leaves open for the for how do I want to say this? It kind of leaves open for certain actions to take place or lack of action to take place. So with you saying, this is not my president, there's some people who will say that, and that would be a reason to not take place in the conversation. And then there's some people that say that's not my president and uses that as a reason to do something, super silly. But there's some people that are, I feel like, by embracing that, it doesn't mean embrace him, embracing the fact that he is, so that way you can fully sit in that and then make the change. The one thing that what I've seen within all of this is just, we all know there needs to be a complete system change. You have both the president and the vice president basically denouncing that there's systematic racism. And that is, you would have talked, Mike Pence was talking about, that was a, slap in the face or whatever, different things like that. That is a slap in the face to all of your people of color residents. Like, for real. It's a super slap in the face because you're minimizing. No, you're not even minimizing. You're literally saying that it doesn't exist when there are systems. Even, let's just take a look at this. If there wasn't systematic racism, if I was the moderator, I would love to be a moderator. I would love to be a moderator of a debate, because I just want to be able, when someone's just stepping out of line, just be able to check them. Just be like, nah, son, it ain't going down like that. You signed this, it ain't going down like that. Like a homeboy kid would say, it's just all like, yo, why don't they got it to where they can just mute the mic after a certain time, throw in the, you know, the what you call it, music, and start turning their mic down, you know, because they're, I would definitely sit there and ask them if they're, I would do a series of questions, almost not necessarily to set them up, but to make a particular point. I would do something along the lines of, you know, is it true that, you know, majority of companies are ran by a white person? Then I would go into, now, who's the majority as far as in schools and colleges and, you know, certain things like that? Then I would say, who's the majority in a lot of these places of power? And then I would ask, who is the majority of it, the list can go on. And the fact that there is one singular race that outnumbers by the majority, that's systematic racism. Because if you can't admit that, then you would be admitting that somehow that majority race is superior, that there's more people that are qualified, that this and this, and that just is not true. Therefore, you have to admit, you have to admit, because how in the world would, seriously, how in the world can you explain the vast majority of white faces in places? That is systematic. Before I was born, before my parents were born, before Trump was born, before Pence was born, before their grandparents was born, before their great great grandparents, you know, like, this didn't just start within their timeline or my timeline. This is a continuation which causes for these type of things to be acknowledged. How can we move forward if you won't even acknowledge what's right in front of you? You can't even move forward without acknowledging what's right in front of you. You physically can't. You can have the illusion that you are, that your family is, that your, you know, your whole line, you know, is, but it is a sad illusion. So, with that being said, I just wanted to get this episode, you know, recorded. About to chow down and eat, get some grub a dub dub. Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. Got a show on Saturday. So make sure to come out to Treasure's event. And yeah, I'm excited for that. You know, it's the first performance since all this stuff has been going down. You know, so that's really dope. Make sure to check out the articles on my website, dabcho.com, even the store, dabcho.com/shop. Got some nice holistic items there, as well as, well, they're all holistic. You'll look in, you'll see it, and you'll see the holistic aspect of it. But again, my name is Mr. Composition, MC that writes fiction. This is another episode of The Composition. Y'all have a good one. Peace.